Geomorphology class. Okay. Yesterday we discussed about the WAFs and we discussed about the lake bed sedimentation, and in that we discussed that we have two types of deposits in the glacial lakes. We have okay. We have finer silt, as we said yesterday, and also we have the coarser silt and it's- okay, doesn't cause any issue. Okay. We have two types of deposits. We have the finer silt and clay that are frozen during the winter seasons, and we have the coastal materials and sand that comes in the summer months. These deposits, we said, are very important in terms of studies when we are doing the studies on the glaciers and also the studies on the climatology. These are one of the most important part of the glacial sedimentations, and in many countries they have been reported WAF deposits, the lacustrine, glacial lacustrine deposits. Okay, the next is you see a big structureless feature that is actually a dump uh, deposit by wind. Here you can see the interaction of two geomorphic processes. The first one is glaciers. Glaciers, what they do, they produce abundant amount of fine sediment, especially in the outwash when the glaciers are melting, and we have the fine material that was grounded by ice, and then it settles in a particular area, and once it get dries, if the winds are strong, they can pick up the silt size material. So all of this is like very well sorted material. Sorting in wind is very good, and it just picks the silt, and it doesn't pick sand or clay or any other thing. So that you see here is all silt, and you don't see any pronounced bedding or any bedding plane. And it means if you don't see any bedding planes in geology, it means the sequence was formed in one go. Like, okay, there was this amount of sediment present in that area, and then the wind came in, and then wind deposited. We call this as luss. The spellings are a little bit, we have to say, like pronunciation is different than the spellings. We'll call it as luss. Luss deposits. We have luss deposits in Attock district, Pakistan, and some of these deposits are used in the construction and different industries. So the sediments settle out near glaciated areas as dust deposits, or maybe we have glaciers not far away from where Attock was in Pleistocene, because Pleistocene was the time of glaciers, and glaciers mostly encircle most part of the planet Earth. Okay. Then we have landforms. So we finish the deposition. Now we see some of the very particular landforms that are typical feature of glaciers that indicate in that particular area we used to have glaciers. These include end moraines, terminal moraines, recessional moraines, drumlins, ground moraine, cattle lakes, and eskers. As we said, the moraines are actually the glaciers when they have reduced in their volume. So normally they recede. Recede means they go back, and in the order they make some deposition. And as a result of that deposition, we can have recessional moraine, end moraines, and terminal moraines. We will see shortly what does this means. And then drumlins are like that they deposit material in terms of hills. Asymmetrical hills, we call that hills as drumlins. Then we have ground moraines, the deposition of glacier, just like if you see on the bottom of the glacier, especially once you have the deposition settling of the clasts from here, so they settle at the base of the glacier, and as a result we call them ground moraine because they are attached with the ground. And then we have the cattle lakes. Cattle lakes, you can see that you can see blue areas here in this glaciated landscape, a landlocked lakes, जिसका आपको कोई आउटसाइड सोर्स नजर नहीं आ रहा, या इधर से वाटर जो है वो बाहर नहीं जा रहा है, इसमें नहीं आ रहा. These most of these lakes are called the cattle lakes. And then comes eskers. Eskers are actually sinus body of glacial deposition, that is result of you can see here a glacier, and there is a tunnel inside the glacier, and as a result of melting of this glacier due to rise in temperature, and as a result, if the tunnel is formed and the material is coming like the at the bottom of the this glacier, the material starts coming in to this direction, and when the glacial melts, the the channel that was formed, it will take the shape of an esker. These are some of the terminologies. We will see each terminology in detail. Let's see if we Okay, we will see these terminologies one by one. And here we have end moraines. You see, yesterday we call that the glaciers, they move it like a conveyor belt, and the place where the glaciers become stable, the deposition of glacial ice under the toe of the glacier, we call it as end moraine. This is the end moraine, and it also shows that there is no glacial on this side. It is the end part of the moraine. And the terminal moraine is actually, you can call it the furthest movement के इससे आगे ग्लेशियर जो है it haven't moved, इससे आगे ग्लेशियर्स नहीं गया, तो ये आपकी लास्ट पोजीशन थी जहां पर ग्लेशियर्स आए हैं. So glaciers are moving back. It means they are melting. If they are moving in this direction, it means there is more accumulation of ice than there is the melting. It means the net volume of the glacier is more. That's why the glaciers are very important indicator of climate change. And as you know, global rise of temperature of like 1 degree can drastically affect the glacial volumes, and sometimes these glacial volumes can be reduced, and reduction in the glacial volumes will have an impact on water, like melt water in the summer. And if we have more melt water in the summer, it means the glaciers are melting faster, and it means more erosion and more deformation of planet. Glaciers are very much like the controlling factors on the climate of planet. And then we have the terminal moraines, as I said. Recessional moraines are actually the moraines, the deposit of glacier when the glaciers are retreating. So recessional moraines can be one, two, three, and they continue to form as a result of the recession. Recession means किसी चीज के अंदर जब किसी वॉल्यूम के अंदर कमी हो जाती है, as a result of that we have the okay, let us go back. Okay. Okay, so recessional moraines are formed जब आपकी जो ice sheets हैं वो retreat करती हैं, तो उसको हम recessional moraines कहते हैं. Moraines can be divided into end moraines, terminal moraines, recessional moraines, and ground moraines. Ground moraines are actually, as you can see in this figure, are the deposition of the glacial at the bottom of the glacier. So this is a glacier. Two valley glaciers are coming in, and then in this area, you can see that they are forming a medial moraine, and on the sides of the glacial wall, you can see they are forming the lateral moraines. These are some of the types of the moraine, and these are the terminal moraine. And as the glacial is retreating, the deposition of it, the latest one will be called the recessional moraine. जो सबसे recent होगी उसको आप recessional moraine कहेंगे. These moraine deposits are used sometime to understand the glacial volumes and to understand the balance for the climatic studies and also the glacier studies. Here we can see some drumlins. Drumlins are actually, you can see here, they are aligned hills of molded till, and you can see that this was a glacier, and as a result of its movement, if it has some abstraction on the ground, sometimes it forms asymmetric form, and steep up ice formed. So here you can see there are some hillocks that are formed by the result of the glacier, and they can also occur. Here is the map view, and you can see that this arrow shows the movement of the glacial ice, and these are the drumlins, and these are the contour lines we will study maybe in the geological fieldwork, just to understand. They actually represent, these lines represent the elevation of the ground. Oh, normally these drumlins, they are glacial till deposits, and they are asymmetric form, and they are common in those areas where we used to have glaciers. So these are also an indicator of presence of glacier. Cattle lakes. Cattle lakes are actually once we have a glacial and we have some of these icebergs type of ice that becomes disconnected with the main ice, and as a result it is just like covered with later sediments because the glacial keep on melting and retreating. As a result, they are entrapped in the ground, and sometimes when they start melting, they also do the frost, freeze and thaw type of weathering, and as a result, they form lakes. These are the lakes, we call them as cattle lakes or cattle holes for short. And these are just like small depressions. And here you can see beautiful examples. Another illustration that shows you the dead ice that is disconnected from the main. And you can also see the meltwater coming in the form of asker. And then we have some of these cattle holes, and sometime we can see a lot number of cattle lakes that are present along a glacial landscape. Sometimes also the subsidence, like अगर जमीन जो है वो नीचे बैठ रही है because of the weight of the glacier, sometimes we can also see it happening. And some cattle lakes, they have longer ages कि उसमें अगर rainfall या snow melt का water आता रहेगा तो वो survive करती रहेंगी. अगर water नहीं आएगा then they can be a cattle hole, and they can become a dry without any water. Askers, as I said, are actually long ridges, and you can see that here is the ridge, and most of these ridges are actually formed by sand and gravel. And as I said, uh, we we have seen that they are a result of the meltwater. जैसे अभी हमने यहाँ पर एक फिगर में हमने देखा था कि जब आपका ग्लेशियर और उस ग्लेशियर के अंदर टनल बन जाए और वहां से मेल्ट वाटर नीचे आना शुरू हो जाए, तो वो मेल्ट वाटर जैसे ही मूव करता जाएगा तो वो नीचे से मटेरियल जो है, इट विल मूव द मटेरियल दैट वाज प्रेजेंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ग्राउंड मोरेन या आउटवॉश, इसके नीचे जो मटेरियल होगा उसको लेकर आएगा, और जब ग्लेशियर मेल्ट हो जाएगा then it will form a shape something like this. So we call this as an esker. Sometimes these eskers, you can see them like in tens of meters or maybe kilometers. And here you can see a ground moraine, and it's another illustration for the deposition of the glacial. And this was the meltwater channel, and you can see a small delta type of feature that comes here. And this is the terminal moraine, the place where the आइस रीच्ड फर्देस्ट, जहां तक आइस गई थी, तो वहां तक जो आप इसको क्रॉस सेक्शन भी देख सकते हैं कि हाउ इट लुक्स लाइक इन द क्रॉस सेक्शन, द ग्राउंड मोरेन, एंड देन वी हैव द एस्कर. These are some of the references that